Hi everyone, you reached Chronicles of the Gray Hair Diva. If this is your first time, welcome. If not, welcome back. For all of you out there, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that every time I upload a video, you will be notified. Hit the like button, chat with me in the comments, and when I get opportunity, I will chat back. And share my video with your friends and family so that they can come to my channel and get to know me also. I'm here today with a quick video on Kevin Jr., Wendy Williams' only son. Well, unfortunately, the U.S. Sun has reported today that Kevin Jr. got kicked out of his luxury Miami apartment. The apartment itself is worth $2 million. They did not purchase the apartment. However, they was leasing it out. And Wendy Williams, the generous mom that she was, in March of 2021, she paid a whole full year lease for Kevin Jr. to be in this luxury apartment. So from March 2021 all the way up until February 2022, he was living the life of luxury in his Miami apartment, where Wendy Williams had to come out of pocket $100K for the lease fees for a year and some other fees, okay, that went along with him being in that apartment. Now listen, guys, in this story I'm about to tell you, timelines matter. So try to write down and remember the timelines, okay? So she paid for the lease for him to be there for a year. It started in March of 2021. It ended in February of 2022. Now, you all know, if you've been following the whole Wendy Williams saga, so to speak, that over the summer, everybody was kind of outraged, right? Because we heard rumors that, oh my God, Wells Fargo, from what we heard initially, we felt like they just, for no apparent reason, put a freeze on Wendy Williams' account that she had at Wells Fargo and would not let her touch her own money. We were outraged, right? And then they refused to release the freeze until they went to court because they wanted some type of financial guardianship over her money. And again, it outraged us even more. But in real time, we're finding that, you know what? Thank God for Wells Fargo. If it wasn't for Wells Fargo, Wendy's bank account, and I don't know the amount of money that was in her bank account. I'm just, doing numbers here to just tell a story. If there was $22 million in her bank account, and if when they froze it, it was $15 million in her bank account, thank God Wells Fargo's froze the account, because if they didn't, by the time somebody would have realized that something shady was going on with Wendy and her bank account and her money, she might have had $0 left in that account. So again, I do have a Wells Fargo account, and I will keep it till the days are gone as a result of them saving Wendy Williams and her money. Now, why did I say timelines? Her account was frozen in January of 2022. Her son's lease in his luxury $2 million apartment was up in February of 2022. When it was up, he had a decision to make. He could have moved out of that luxury apartment, found himself a cheaper apartment, a studio somewhere or something like that, got himself a job, paid his rent at that studio apartment and whatever else he needed to do to live his life, knowing that his mother was going through something major in her life, a health crisis. But instead, he decided to stay in that luxury apartment and continue the lease on his own, knowing that he couldn't afford it. But you know what he was trying to do? He was trying to wait it out to see if they can get that account unfrozen and start getting the money again, so that they can continue to live their lifestyle and pay their bills. And who is they? His father, Kevin Sr., and him, Kevin Jr. And why did I come to that conclusion, and why did I say that? Because now this whole thing that happened to Wendy over the summer is all making sense now as these different stories come trickling out and we're hearing about it. Kevin Sr. Said himself last week that he cannot afford to live his life without the alimony payments from Wendy Williams. So much so that he filed a court filing saying that, you know what, make her financial guardian pay my alimony, or else I'm going to be in foreclosure. I can't pay my car insurance. I can't pay my health insurance. I need my check from Wendy Williams. So all summer, you heard about people trying to prop Wendy up, clean her up, take her to the bank, Wells Fargo, and say that she is okay so that they can take this freeze off of her account. Meantime, they only wanted, and I'm going to say they is Kevin Sr. and Kevin Jr. and whoever else was living off of Wendy Williams' money. They wanted that account unfrozen because they needed that money to continue to pay for everything in their life, okay? Including her little sweet boy, her son, Kevin Jr., okay? The account was frozen in January, guys. His lease was up in February. He started to continue the lease after that, knowing that he had no way to pay this bill. Now let's continue. Let me read a little bit to you here. Wendy Williams' son, Kevin, 22, was evicted from his $2 million luxury Miami apartment after his mom was cut off from her fortune and can't pay his rent, according to the court filings. And documents exclusively obtained by the U.S. son, Wendy's only child, was hit with a lawsuit seeking nearly $70,000 in back rent for non-payment on his Florida apartment since February of this year, right? Now, he could have moved because, like I said, he knew in January his mother's account was frozen. He also knew in January that his mother no longer had her job at the Wendy Williams show. She wasn't working. The eviction suit was filed in August of 2022. Keep that month in mind because I got a connection to this story, right? Includes a copy of Kevin Jr.'s lease, which shows Wendy paid a full year in advance, as well as a security deposit and other fees. Wendy dropped over $100,000. Keep that number in your head. August 2022 and $100,000 that she dropped when she initially signed the lease back in March of 2021, right? So Wendy dropped over $100,000 on the apartment for her 22-year-old son for the first year of the lease, which started in March of 2021 and ended in February, with Kevin agreeing to continue to rent the apartment on a monthly basis after the lease term had passed, okay? So when Kevin Jr. agreed to continue to stay in that apartment, and he knew his mother wasn't well, he knew his mother's bank account was frozen, okay, he made that silly decision. He should have moved when the lease was up and went and found him a studio somewhere. But let's continue, okay? The U.S. Sun previously exclusively reported that Wendy Williams' Wells Fargo account was frozen in January of this year, which lines up with when the overdue rent began to pile up, as mentioned in Kevin's eviction lawsuit. In his response to the lawsuit, Kevin told the court that his famous mother rented the apartment for him. He said that as the lease approached the end, my mom went through some health issues that put the court in control of her finances, and that all of the financial support that she always gave stopped, including his housing. Kevin added that he is currently in school full-time but had to take a full year off due to COVID and to take care of Wendy. Wendy's son added that the medical and legal reasons she has not been able to pay for medical and legal reasons, she has not been able to pay for the rent for the past month since the one-year lease ended and the court controlled her finances. The 22-year-old added, everything happened very quickly and unexpectedly, and I had no idea things would end up like this, before adding that he would be moving out on September 7th. Well, he should have moved out on back in February, but I get it. 22 is still young, so I'll give him a slight pass on that. And I also think, this is just my opinion, that he was probably being told by his father, just chill, stay there. We're going to figure out a way to unfreeze your mother's accounts so that you can start getting your support back again and you'll be able to pay your rent. But when all of their shenanigans are trying to prop Wendy up, take her to the bank, get these accounts unfrozen, didn't work, they started to panic, run scared, and they did not know what to do. And that's how Kevin Jr. ended up with this $70K eviction lawsuit notice, right? Now, back in August, remember I told you before to hold on to that date of August and to remember that number 100K. And just a quick reminder that paperwork said that back in August, they filed for the eviction and the lawsuit to get back past rent that Kevin Jr. owed, and he owed about $70K, right? That was back in August when they filed this lawsuit. And remember, to have him leased for 1 whole year, Wendy Williams came up with $100K up front, and that paid for the lease for 1 full year and some fees. Well, if you remember, back in the summer, and I also did a video back then, right? There was this article, again from the Sun. It says, not so fast. Wendy Williams' son, Kevin, 22, charged $100K to his mom's American Express card before Wells Fargo froze the troubled host accounts. Okay, so $100K he charged. You know what that $100K was about? And people was like, oh, he would never. Now, he said, I don't know if you can see that. He said in this particular article that, it wasn't anything sinister. He didn't do it unauthorized, right? And I said to people, pay attention to the words. He didn't say he did not do it. He just said that he would never do anything unauthorized without his mother's permission. I'm thinking back in August, he knew he was in trouble. He also knew that the first time his mother leased that apartment for him, she paid $100K up front, and it took care of a year of his rent. So he figured, why not? This is just in my mind. Why not try to charge another $100K so I can pay for another year's rent and I'll be good? And that's why back in August, there was some suspicion of Kevin Jr., okay, doing something with his mother's American Express card to the tune of $100K. People were saying, oh, he bought shoes, he bought this. And I was like, that's a lot of clothes. And Kevin Jr. don't even seem like the type that really cared about wearing name brands like that. Like it was sneakers and all that. I think he was trying to pay for that apartment. And I think everybody that Wendy Williams was around in Miami, which unfortunately included her ex-husband and her own son, was taking advantage of her, and that's why she ran back to New York. Now, Kevin Jr., this is a prime example of when no matter, even if the person's your mother or your husband or whoever, when you depend on somebody else's money to live your life, and that person is no longer there, and you never knew how to fend for yourself, what do? There's that Proverbs that says, you know what? If you feed a man, you give him fish, he's going to eat for that day, and he's going to always have to come back to you when he's hungry. But if you teach a man how to fish, he will eat forever. Unfortunately, it seems like Kevin Sr. and Kevin Jr. never learned how to fish. Thanks, guys, for watching. When you get an opportunity, chat with me in the comments, and I will chat back. Here we are. I think there's probably going to be a dozen more stories coming out of people who was living off of Wendy Williams' money. And let's be clear, $10 million, of course it sounds like a lot to us, right? But $10 million, and then you tax that $10 million, and then you have vultures in your life sucking you dry for your money. Poor Wendy. Thanks, guys, for watching. Chat with me in the comments, and when I get an opportunity, I will chat back. Last week I said that Kevin Sr., he needs to get a job. Respectfully, because this is her son. I'm sorry, Kevin Jr., you're going to have to get a job. Thanks, guys, for watching. Hit the like button, and I'll see you in the next video.